Terry Blackburn here. I have a property portfolio worth over £10 million. I've built and sold multiple companies, some in seven-figure deals. I wrote two successful books, one won awards all over the world. All of these awards behind me are national and international awards for some of my companies. Coach people one-on-one, and I run masterminds. Now, if you like what I talk about in this session, if you listen to my podcast, you follow us on Instagram, you follow the YouTube page, if you like what I talk about and I resonate with you and you can relate to me, jump on my website, which is terryblackburnproperty.com. All of the different services that I have is on there. I'd love to work with you and I'd love to help you get to where you want to be, whether that's in property, whether that's in business, whether it's in sales, goal setting, whatever it is that you want to achieve and want to learn. I'm your man. Enjoy the rest of the episode and speak soon. Hi, and welcome to the Rags to Riches Show with myself, Terry Blackburn. So, today's episode is a hugely important, valuable lesson. If you can master this, I pretty much guarantee that you will achieve more in every single part of your life. We are all in sales, whether you are selling a physical product or a service, whether you have interactions with customers, whether you need to sell an idea, a concept, something like that to an angel investor, a JV partner. You're selling to your partner that she wants to, or he or she wants to marry you, that you want to go on holiday to a certain place. You sell to your kids why they should go to bed at a certain time, why they should finish the dinner. Sales is everything. Sales is involved in every part of everybody's life, knowingly and sometimes not knowingly. So I'm going to give you some key tips in this episode that will enable you to become better at sales, better at communicating, persuading, negotiating. And I'm pretty confident that if you implement this, you're going to be in a better place. So let's crack straight on. First point, in no particular order, what have we got? 9 points. First one is your tone of voice. Okay, so even though I'm a Geordie, I get lots of compliments on my voice, right? Because if you notice what I do when I'm doing it there is I emphasize on certain words and I'll pause at certain times. I'll speed up my voice sometimes when I need to get a message across in a certain way, but sometimes I'll do it a little bit slower. See what I'm doing with my tone of voice, and those words hit different. Okay. Likewise, if you're speaking really, really quickly like this, and you're speaking to maybe someone who's older, who's a little bit slower, they're going to think that something's wrong with you. They're going to think that you are dodgy, that you're untrustworthy. And likewise, if you are speaking really, really slowly, and you're speaking to someone who's energetic and who's fast paced, they're going to think, oh my God, get on with it. I'm not going to buy off this person. Up and down in tone of voice, pace, the pausing, all of it matters. The message hits home different when you go with your tone of voice. I'm not intentionally doing this here. It's just the way that I speak because I'm used to doing it for so long. But you'll notice with my tone of voice, it's up and down a lot. And I use pauses. It. I've designed this voice and I've practiced it over many, many years of being in sales. So tone of voice is key. Don't be monotone. Don't be speaking like this because nobody wants to deal with a person like that. Yeah. And if you're dead, if you sound, maybe if you're pitching an angel investor on the phone or a JV partner and you sound really young or you sound really inexperienced, that's not going to come across well. So maybe it's a deeper voice, maybe it's a more energetic, enthusiastic voice is needed. Inject credibility through your tone of voice, speak with authority. All of these things matter, right? Nothing's neutral in sales, everything matters. Point two is practice, right? You can't have a tone of voice like mine or like someone who's very good at sales without practicing. Yeah. When I first got into sales when I was age 19, I'm 35 now. There's no way I spoke like this. Absolutely no way. So practice makes permanent as well as practice makes perfect. Nothing's really perfect. Everyone's got time, everyone's got room to get to improve. That's why I say practice makes permanent. Because if you practice it enough, it just becomes who you are. You just speak like this normally. So practice in the mirror, practice with your friends, practice with easy customers, but just practice getting your voice better. Yeah, practice communicating. The more people that you speak to, the more experience you're going to become. Like if you're trying to attract an angel investor, your first conversation with an angel investor probably won't go well. You'll probably be nervous. You'll probably mess it up. You'll say the wrong thing. Whereas if you had 10, 20, 30 conversations with different angels down the line, you're going to be a lot more confident. And the only reason is that is because you practice. You've got more experience than the first one. Yeah. It applies to every part of life, of course, but sales is no different. And sales is massively important. The more experience and practice you get, the more deals you're going to close. Point three is if you look the part, you will get the part. So if you are dressed like a tramp, you're probably not going to get the sale. Yeah, if you're going to speak to an angel investor, a CEO of a company, a big player, a big joint venture partner, whatever, and you're in a hoodie and a tracksuit and your hair's all over and you look like a scrub, regardless how good you are and regardless what you say to that person, it's unlikely that it's going to go ahead, right? Um, Whereas on the flip side of that, if you're going to see a CEO, somebody, a big player, and you dressed appropriately, shirt, maybe even a shirt and tie, suit, depending on the type of meeting, but you're dressed in a business attire, you're looking smart, you've had a shave or your beard's on point, your hair's on point, you're looking good, right? Then you are, if it's a lady, obviously your dress is on point, your hair's on point, your makeup's on point, then you are more likely to get the part, as in get the deal, get the investment, get the JV partnership, get the whatever. Because people judge you on how you look. 80 to 90% of how you look is your clothes. So make sure that your clothes are on point and it's suitable for what you're going to do. Yeah. I don't know if you sell products to personal trainers, you sell protein, for example, you don't really go in a three-piece suit, right? It swings and roundabouts, right? You've got to know your audience and know who your audience, your clients are, right, and your customers. So, point four is ask good questions. Okay, so asking good questions is what sales is, right? Sales isn't the double glazing salesman, the dodgy car salesman from back in the day, you know, pushing you into a sale. That doesn't really exist anymore. Buyers and customers are different now. The best way to sell is ask good questions. You ask questions of the customer or the prospect and get them to tell you information which you then use in your close. You ideally want to be identifying a problem with your questioning. So, for example, if it's an angel investor, you're going to be asking them questions about, you know, obviously them, but then to identify a problem, it'll be, so have you got money in savings account? Have you got other investments? How are they performing for you? What return are you getting? And if they're getting a lower return, there's a problem. You can solve that. The solution is you can offer them a higher return. If they find a problem, one of the problems from good question, it might be they want to diversify the portfolio. So what is it you do at the moment? I do stocks and shares. I've got businesses. I've got pensions. I've got whatever. Okay, so adding property might be a good solution to that to diversify. Would you agree? Yeah, it could be. Yeah, you see what I'm doing? I'm asking questions of your prospect is key because regardless what you're selling, you need to find out information before you get to the close. You can't just close everybody with the same close. It doesn't work like that. You find the problems, you then offer the solutions, and you only find the problems and the situation by asking good questions. Yeah. So, point five, like, listen, trust, buy. Okay, I've talked about this in previous episodes. That's how somebody does anything, right? In a sales process, you've got to like you first. You've got to be likable. Once they start to like you, they'll start to listen. Once they start to listen, they'll start, if as long as you say the right things, they'll start to trust you. And if they like you, they've listened to what you've got to say, and they then trust you, they're going to buy. Yeah. Starting point of that is being likable. Because they're not even going to listen to you if they don't like you. Like, listen, trust, buy. Yeah. Got another episode on this, feel free to go back on that one. Because I do it in detail. So point five, no point, yeah, six. You can tell I do these off the cuff, right? I don't need a script. So adding value, okay. Yes, you ask good questions, but some products that you might be selling are quite high end. Okay. If you're selling, I don't know, cars, maybe a certain package that you offer, maybe coaching, maybe it's whatever, right? If you don't add enough value, price becomes more important. So what I'll explain. Let's say if your coaching package is 5 grand, let's say 5 grand is a lot of money. Mm. Depends on who you're speaking to, of course, but some people would see that as more than others. If the potential customer doesn't see huge value in that offering, he ain't going to buy it, even if it's 100 quid. So what you have to do is you have to tip the balance. You have to make the value so high that the price doesn't really matter. Okay, and you only do that by explaining your product or your service or your offering or whatever it is you're trying to sell. Or if it's a concept to a JV partner or angel investing, you need to be selling the concept and why they should do it in a non-pushy way. And you do that by just adding value, giving all of the reasons why they should do it or why other people have done it, um, why it is so good. It's such a good return. It's such a good opportunity. It's such a good product. It's such a good whatever. So you have your USPs and you have your selling points. You've got to talk through them all because again, if the value is so high, the price doesn't really matter. Yeah, that's why some cars 20 grand and some cars are 5 million quid, Bugattis and all that. Yeah, because they value Bugattis so much that the price becomes irrelevant. Yeah. Another one kind of links into like, listen, trust, buy is act interested in them. So have you ever been at a bar or you've met someone somewhere and they've just talked about them? You've met them and they've bragged about, oh, I've got this much money, or I do this business and I do this and I do. They're just talking about themselves, right? Did you enjoy that conversation? Pretty sure the answer is going to be no. Because nobody likes someone that just talks about them, right? And a lot of salespeople do this wrong. They just talk about them and go on and on and on because they love the sound of their own voice and they'll rabbit on and tell them all about their bloody family history and all sorts of crap, right? Customers, I'll tell you one thing, most of them aren't bothered. What they are bothered about is themselves. So if you can act interested in them and ask them questions about them and talk to them about, you know, ask them questions about, so how long have you did this occupation for? How long have you lived in this area? What is it you do? Do you have kids? Do you have a partner? What is it you do for work? Do you enjoy it? All of these questions, right? You're acting interested in the person and you do it sincerely. You make a good eye contact, and you do act interested in them. And what that does is it makes people subconsciously warm to you, subconsciously like you. And that's the starting point of like, and trust buy, right? A lot of people get this wrong. A lot of salespeople just love talking and they don't act interested. You've got two ears in one mouth, right? And you should use them in that proportion. So you should listen twice as much as you speak. You've got two ears, you only got one mouth. You got two mouths, fucking hell. um, yeah, you need donated designs, right? Where everyone's got two ears, one mouth. So use them in that proportion. Point what one, two, three, four. I think it's seven or eight. Um, use examples. So instead of saying, this is why you should buy Mr. Client, yeah, you can say, a lot of people in this situation go ahead for this reason or that reason. So, for example, you're sitting with an angel investor and he said, I want to diversify, I want to 10% or whatever. Okay, no, you're obviously asking him questions, you're likable and all of that stuff. But then you can just, instead of saying to him, property is a great way to diversify. You can say, well, I've spoke to a lot of people who are similar to yourself. A lot of people who've got money in different asset classes and they want to diversify. So a fantastic way to do that is obviously property, working with somebody like myself. So I've got, like I say, quite a few people who are in the same boat as you. You just want to diversify. They want a fixed rate of return of up to 10% secured against property or with a personal guarantee, with a short term on there and about a 12-month term. So a lot of people are exactly the same as you. What I'm doing there is I'm reassuring them that other people are the same as him. And I'm not pushing them to say, you need to do this. I'm saying other people do this as well, just like you. And that gives them reassurance. See what I'm doing? You do that with customers as well, with any form of potential customer. Most people in your situation do this, and this is why. I've got loads of customers just like you who've done this, this, and this. Yeah, it's a indirect way of selling. Yeah. And the last one, point nine, is give options and a point of close. If you just say, "This is what I can do for you, Mr. Customer. Would you like to go ahead?" It is then a yes or a no. If they say no, where do you go from that? Yes, you can try and deal with the objection and all of that. But given two options, if you say, "Well, you can do this, Mr. Customer, or you can do that, Mr. Customer, which one do you prefer?" They are then just picking which one, aren't they? They are picking one that works for them. They are not, "Yes, I know I want to go ahead." It's which one's best for you. Which one sounds best? Which one looks best? Which one do you prefer? Just picking one. Yeah. So those are 9 points that you can implement straight away that all are free. And I'm telling you now, someone who's got a lot of businesses, a lot of staff, and I've had a lot of success, built huge sales teams. If you get these points right and you implement them and you get good at them and you perfect them and you practice them, you will be able to get more customers, more joint ventures, more business partners, more angel investors, more coaching customers, more whatever it is that you want into your businesses, because sales is a dying art. It's a lost art. People don't know how to do it. And honestly, it's not that difficult once you master it, right? And there's just basic key things that I've discussed in this episode that if you nail down and you lock them down, you will 100% make more money, make more progress. We all know what money and progress gives us: options, choices, happiness, freedom, and a good quality of life. So, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please give us a share on Instagram, screenshot this podcast, and put it tag us on a post on Instagram. I really appreciate it. And reach out if you need any support or assistance. Thank you very much. Remember, don't just take notes with what you've learned today, take action.